Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm taking a look at another TwoSun today. I do have a different kind of strange lighting arrangement going on at the moment that probably won't stay, but I'm at least giving it a shot. So, okay, this is the TS06, but as you can see, this is the carbon fiber variant, so it's not just titanium all the way around. This, I do believe, is kind of new, and I like it quite a bit. You got that little flipper tab here on the back. Kerchow. And yeah, we got a nice little Tanto kind of thing going on there. You can see I got quite the excellent edge on there. But yeah, this is still in D2, as it will probably... There we are. And it's a NightMorning design, which means this is probably one of the first ones that he did for TwoSun, at least initially. I do like this guy quite a bit. You can see some visual flair and grind lines going on the pocket clip, and a bit on each of the facets there on the titanium back. And something that probably won't come up too great on camera. No, there's actual micro milling lines going on this top portion here on the carbon fiber, which is fantastic because it actually gives you, yeah, you can hear that a little bit, gives you grip, which is something that a lot of people have trouble with carbon fiber with. It's fantastic, and it also doesn't really mess around too much with the different design kind of catching the light or anything like that. It's just nice and attractive. I would love to see this kind of finish done on much more in the future, because it's just kind of fantastic. As with everything, almost everything the TwoSun does, writing on bearings, super nice drop action after you get past the little detent on-ramp here. You can, kick it closed further than that, but that's perfectly fine. You can see this handle is very, very, very neutral. It's basically just kind of a straight line kind of thing going on there. You have just a little tiny bit of a groove here, at least in the carbon fiber section, for your index finger to kind of grab onto. That also allows you the access to the liner lock, which is great because it's also got a little bit of a scallop going on there. Hooray. So yeah, very, very easy to open and close. It's very thin and sleek, as you can see. Let's see. What would be the best way for me to go about that? Yeah, it's less than an inch at kind of probably one of the, the thickest points there. So, yeah, very slim. Pocket clip. Only has one screw in it, but in this case, I'm perfectly fine with it because it's got the, it's attached to the, what do you want to call that? The standoff or stud or whatever. And it's inset into the titanium here, and not a circle type shape. So it's pretty secure there. It's not the easiest thing to get absolutely in and out of the pocket, unfortunately. There's just the clip is very flat there, but it's something that you can easily get used to. It's just not, buttery smooth in and out of the pocket every time that you might expect it. But it is fairly decently deep carry for a titanium milled clip. So, yay. That's awesome. The flipper tab certainly is nice and rounded off, so it doesn't really have, any crazy peaks or anything like that going on. And it certainly flies open unless you do the wet noodle kind of deployment, like you use the middle of your index finger, and it'll almost all the way get out there. But yeah, as long as you actually decide that the knife should be coming out, that's what's going to happen. So yeah, no qualms there. The blade is pretty interesting. You know, it's kind of a slimline kind of Tanto shape there, but it also has a if you could call it a drop point Tanto, I guess that would make the most sense to me. Which is yeah, it's pretty interesting. It still keeps the point forward there, and you can see that it's still quite nice with the point thickness out there. So it's still got to have a little bit of stabby sort of thing. However, usually if something has a lot of piercing force to it, I don't generally want this back part right here to be pointy. If I can get them more rounded, that's much more comfortable to get a grip to have, the back part of your hand going in there for that pierce. But that being said, it's very comfortable enough using it in the standard, what they would call a saber grip, I guess, technically. And yeah, we got a little bit of jimping going on here on the back. That's slightly crowned, at least there on the jimping part. The rest of it's fairly flat there. Yeah, no super sharp edges or anything like that. It is a little bit more crowned up here than it is here. These are sharper, but they're not sharp. It's not like a 90-degree thing that you would not like to use, but would do a very good job for using a fire steel. So, there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look on the inside of this simple little guy here. First off, basically everything on this is T8. As usual, we have T6 for the steel insert, which, unless you're doing some anodization work or whatever, there's no reason to ever really remove that. So, you're good to go there. This guy, usually when they do attach to the posts there, they are a little bit more difficult to get out. There you go. Just shove your screw head through there if that helps you out. And then, yeah, their standard pivot. So yeah, super easy and simple to get in there. This is kind of one of their earlier kind of designs, so obviously we don't really have any skeletonization going on the liner lock side. I technically would be inclined to say this would be another one that would be nice to have the frame lock notch on the inside because I haven't skeletonized it, just to make it look a little bit cleaner on that back part. But like I said, this is a fairly early design. They've certainly updated their practices over time. So the next thing up that I'll point out here on the inside is their standard ceramic bearings in the nylon cages, which always seem to work out quite nice. Next up, we have the blade stop pin is internal to the blade, and they've kind of done that to shave a little bit off of here so they can push the pivot further forward. Y'all probably know my personal preference is that I don't generally like to see open holes in the blade stop pin path, just to keep dirt and grime from making it in there easier. But this only has a little bit of a notch that's open, not the whole entire thing. But as you can probably see in here, yeah, it does kind of pick up a little bit of stuff just from existing out there in the wild. So yeah, you got a little titanium backstop pin with more jimping or almost crenellation kind of things, with the standard pin in there that will hold that. Pull that pivot screw out, and then yeah, you do have the steel bearing race in the carbon fiber, because carbon fiber riding against steel doesn't feel very good. It feels worse than titanium against steel. So there you go. Next up, yeah, I don't really have a D-shaped pivot on here. This was, obviously at number 06, long before they started incorporating that. But it's okay. I haven't really run into any problems with that. Something that I have run into, problems, if you could call it that, and it doesn't plague this model, but it does on quite a few, is their backspace guys. They'll have the studs going through there, but the internal pins sometimes are just a tiny bit shorter than they should be. And what that can end up doing, if it's, titanium on titanium or something like that, is the knife can make a little bit of a sound when you rattle it back and forth. That's very, very easily fixed, technically, by, putting just like a itty bitty tiny piece of cotton into basically one of the stud receptacle holes or whatnot. And that solves the problem, but it is one thing that's, it's kind of annoying. If someone's looking for the absolute best in fit and finish, might get a little irritated with some of that. But doesn't affect the knife in any way, shape, or form. It all works out fine. I need to actually have a ball bearing there before I put the knife back on the pivot. There we go. There's the other pivot, or yeah, the other pivot. No, the bearings. That's the word. Yeah. Ready. I'm jumping the gun again. See, I just didn't put the backspacer in there after I was just talking about it too. That's amazing how your mind just jumps from idea to idea. But, yeah, there we go. Alrighty, and yeah, you can see, as I was talking about earlier, it's not a standard circular shape. It's sunk into the titanium, and it attaches to a pen going through the blade. So this clip is fairly darned secure. There are a couple of models where they've kind of forgot a little bit of that, and one of them, which is a fantastic knife otherwise, they countersunk the pocket clip into micarta, which is not strong enough really to withstand side-to-side kind of pressures for the stuff going on there. Now this side right here is actually giving me a little bit of trouble, so I will use my little tool here. That's basically another Torx head on the other side there, and that will help me deal with that real quick. Okay, cool. I could probably get that looser. It's still a super nice action, but yeah, that works. All right. So yeah, I saw a couple of these show up a little while ago, and I decided it looked kind of interesting, and I hadn't seen it come up on eBay before because I haven't been around for the very start of TwoSun. I kind of jumped in a little bit after I found the TS16 randomly on Amazon, and then kind of looked for others because its build quality impressed me, and well, here we are today. So yeah, like this guy quite a bit. I really, really do like the carbon fiber here on the front. You can still see the weave pattern and everything just perfectly fine, but it has just wonderful amount of grip going on there. Reminds me maybe a little bit of the peel ply carbon fiber texture that Spyderco had done on some of their knives. It's a little less aggressive than that, but still very, very grippy nonetheless. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the market for kind of a thinner Tanto kind of blade like that, this guy is a fantastic option. I do have a couple others that I've taken a look at on the channel before. There was one from Free Tiger. I think it was the FT906 or 903. I don't know either. It was a G10 kind of thing. Same sort of thing, D2. It was a little bit thinner blade, or, you know, shorter, not as tall blade. But, yeah, and there was a couple others, but this so far has been my favorite. It seems to be the most comfortable in my hands. Yes, it is kind of a larger knife, and that's probably part of it. Yeah, we're coming in, well, actually not all that bad. It's basically like 3¼ inches. So not as humongous as a lot of the other ones, but, very, very nice and stout. So, yeah, how about if I go ahead and get a couple more of these measurements out the way here. First one I kind of want to take a look at is that, yeah, it's about at the solid ½ inch, just a little bit over it for thickness. So, not super thick, but because of the contour on both sides there, it does feel quite nice and comfortable in there for being as thin as that actually is. Then next up, I want to check blade stock. If I can, check it from the flipper tab. And on this one, it's basically like 3.9 or 4. Yeah, I would say it's 3.9, which isn't exactly the thinnest thing in the universe. And because it has this swedge on the back here, it doesn't quite look that thick until you kind of come out there or whatnot. And this thing isn't the absolute thinnest behind the edge. It's not their super thin grinds that they've had, but it's very durable. There you go. And, I haven't really had any problems slicing up any cardboard or anything else with it, so it's not really impeding its intended use there. But sometimes I do like to start a cut, and I'll finish it using a pole cut sort of thing. It's just a little bit easier to do that sometimes if you don't have the super uber sliciest of blade geometry going on there. So yeah, I guess the last thing I want to take a look at is probably the weight on this thing. It's going to be a little bit less than they used to be, because this one has carbon fiber instead of just full titanium, but that's perfectly fine. It's 3.29 ounces, so just shy of the ounce an inch kind of thing that a lot of people kind of look at there, or under 93.5 grams. So yeah, it's certainly something that you will feel. It's not just going to disappear and float off into the atmosphere like it's filled with helium or anything, but fairly darn lightweight to boot, with being a nice utilitarian blade shape for the people who actually like Tantos. Generally, it's not my favorite blade shape, but it won't keep me from picking one up if I do actually like the design of them. I've had quite a few in the past. Like I'd mentioned, that one, the Free Tiger FT903 or whatever. I have several others from TwoSun. I've had a couple of Cold Steels. The Voyager was a nice one. Unfortunately, it was kind of one of the older ones with AOS 8. But I ended up handing that off to a friend many years ago. I actually handed off to him a TwoSun for Christmas, because I accidentally purchased a duplicate of one. And, I'm not going to return it to them going, oh, I already have it. So I repurposed it. I probably could have sold it off for more than I paid for it, but whatever. Now one of my friends can have a lovely knife. So, yeah, I'll stop rambling again. Yeah, I'm really proud with the edge that I got on this guy from the Work Sharp. So yeah, that's the TwoSun TS06 from NightMorning. in D2, which, like I've kind of had a little bit of exploration in before, their D2 does fantastically well. Their 14C28N does as well, which is what they use on a lot more of their newer designs. Both of them do a fantastic job for not being, the super steel powder metallurgy stuff. But yeah, it's absolutely good to go. All right, well, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.